I am on a mission to recreate Treasure Planet, but as a live-action movie trailer. And this is a little behind-the-scenes look for you. The scene that got me the most excited for this project was the portal scene at the very end. When they're on the cliffside, the portal opens, and then they see Flint's trove. So, after snagging some reference images, I hopped into Blender and I split out each of the environments into separate scenes. So you can see in the cliffside, I took some of the concept art grabs from the movie and brought them here into Blender. I did the same thing with Flint's trove here and the map ball, and then the title sequence. I saw that they had two separate ones, one in the movie and one in the trailer that they had for the movie. The very first thing I did was lay out, sort of block out the scene. So the cliffside here, we have this big hole in the ground, we have a big triangle portal, and I brought in a little dummy model for scale here. And you can see in these images, they're on the edge of this cliff when he puts the ball into the ground, opens up the portal, and then also for Flint's trove. Flint's trove is kind of interesting because we have this spherical room that they're in. I just brought in a sphere real quick, added a quick displacement modifier to it to make it all bumpy. If this was a real place and the pirates were coming through here dumping off gold and treasure, there's probably gonna be a way bigger mound right at the entrance. I'm thinking that right when you open the entrance, you see this giant mound of gold with the ship on it. So, very first thing I did, block out the scene. And then I got really excited about the treasure. Then I made a scene for the assets so that when I create the treasure and the coins and the skeleton and the portal, all of those things can live in this scene. And then in the other scenes, I can just place them and worry about composition, not so much modeling each one. So I hopped over into assets and started making a bunch of really interesting items. So I modeled this sword. I made a gold bar with some stamps in it. Made a couple treasure chests. This one is kind of little, just like a simple one. And we have a large chest here with some leather. There's gonna be lots of gold coins, so I modeled a pirate coin, which this pirate coin is actually just a cylinder, a squash cylinder, but then the texture is what gives it the detail. I did learn some really interesting things that will make this modeling process way easier. I could have spent all this time modeling all these details. I think it would just be a nightmare, especially for something that's going to be so small in the scene. I want it to be detailed, but I don't want to spend the time making it detailed. But it's just 3 images. So you're like, wait, where did you get this pirate coin texture image? Well, I had AI make it for me. Hey, Adam from the future here. I just realized when I was recording this that I didn't have very much detail when it came to how I used AI to make these textures. So if you'd like a follow-up behind the scenes video about that, let me know. Let me know in the comments. The other thing that I learned that is interesting is about gems and diamonds and refractions, and why diamonds look sparkly is because they're reflecting all these surfaces. This is our diamond texture, and all of this, including the diamond model, will be free on my Patreon. So I'm not going to go into too much detail of this texture and stuff. All I did was follow a tutorial on YouTube, so it's not even mine, I'm the genius behind this. But basically, this is just a glass texture with red, green, and blue separated, so that when it renders, you get all these red, green, and blue refractions and stuff like that. Our environment is affecting the gemstone, so it will look really realistic when it's put in with other gold coins and stuff like that. Now, the only thing that I thought was smart is I added this section where I can randomize colors. So you just get an object info node and a color ramp, and you have the random go into our FAQ here, and then you can just choose what colors you want the gemstone to be. So every time I copy it, it changes color. So if we come over here into rendered view, sometimes it's a diamond, sometimes it's an emerald, sometimes it's a ruby. I think it can also be a sapphire. So I thought that was pretty cool. So again, this texture and the diamond model will be on my Patreon for free. So far this week, I've gotten the reference images, I've gotten all set up, I've blocked out each of the scenes so I roughly know what they are. And now I'm just creating assets. I'm just gonna make as many assets here as I can so that when I actually bring them into the scene, I'm not worried about modeling of each one. I can just plug and place them and lay out the scene. If you like these videos and getting like a behind the scenes glimpse of how these huge projects come to fruition, just like the video so that it gets pushed out to more people. One of the best ways to help with this project is to support me on Patreon. Not only do you get access to all the models that I've made, but you even get extra behind the scenes videos.